Well, greetings from Australia. I'm Brydie.
And I'm Emma.
And we're from the Creative Change Project. And we're so delighted to be joining you at the CMA. Of course, we'd love to be there with you all in person, but alas, we aren't able to travel this time. So we're really grateful to the organisers for accommodating us online. We're really pleased, though, that one of our Creative Change team members, Flora Wong, is there. She's actually presenting at the same time. So please make time to say hi to Flora and she'll be able to tell you a little bit more about our project. Now, in keeping with an important Australian custom, we want to begin our presentation by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands where we work and live and play, the Turrbal and Jagera peoples, and we also want to extend our respect to the traditional custodians of the many lands where we work on with this Creative Change project. And of course, we also want to recognise the Sami peoples of Finland, where you all are right now. So today we're hoping to share some of the latest findings from our Creative Change project. And you might recall a couple of years ago, we gave an online CMA presentation about this just as the project was starting. And now we're nearing the final leg of our project. So we're excited to be sharing it with you as it goes along. In a nutshell, the Creative Change project is seeking to look at the role that community music can play in addressing entrenched social inequity in Australian communities, or if you want to frame it in a more strengths-based way, the role that community music can play in creating greater social equity in our communities. And when we say community music, what we're talking about is participatory music making by, for, and with a community. And at its heart, what it really involves is inclusive, locally embedded, community-led opportunities for engaging in music. Now, Em and I are here representing a much bigger team. There's 6 of us working on the Creative Change project, and we want to acknowledge the contributions that they've made alongside all of our partners and the communities who we've been working with hand in hand on in this particular research. Now, the team have all been working on really diverse and complex case studies, partnering with communities and arts organisations to explore how community music programs and activities, including songwriting, singing groups, social music groups, and any manner of other informal ensembles, how they are generating a really wide range of benefits from the individual to the communal level right across the country. These deep dive, detailed pictures, which are so deeply connected to a sense of place, are very familiar in our field. These case studies really speak to the deeply relational way in which community music operates. But in this project, we're not only wanting to take that deep dive, that micro level examination of community music, we're also wanting to zoom back out and take a much wider angle lens to look at a national picture. And what happens when we collect a series of smaller stories and put them together to look at the positive social action that community musicians are having in our country. And so that's what we're wanting to present to you today. So what we've done is we've undertaken a national mapping exercise, and we launched an online survey with a series of questions that was based on our previous work, but also a program logic design, which was really challenging community music groups to not only say what sorts of social outcomes they're having in their communities, but actually how they were achieving those and the many ways in which music was helping that process to occur. And so I'm going to hand over to Em to tell you a little bit more about what we found.
So I'm going to give you just a quick overview of the programs that responded to our survey before we get into the really good stuff about the types of work that they are doing and what they are achieving. So our sample included 106 individual programs, which came from all states and territories across our country. We supplemented this data with 9 semi-structured interviews as well with key stakeholders. And these included people working in sort of state government funded organisations supporting musicians, as well as practitioners who were deeply embedded in particular communities or working with particular groups. So these programs were really diverse and they engaged with their communities in a wide range of ways. Most commonly, this was through music production and tuition with people from diverse backgrounds. Lots of programs focused on songwriting and workshops, and others were community choirs and inclusive community jams. Some programs were about providing accessible studio spaces and performance spaces as well. So the programs in our sample also worked with a wide range of people, from adults experiencing social isolation to young people living with disadvantage. Some programs were with carers, parents and families, and others brought music to hospitals and aged care spaces. Some programs worked specifically with marginalised groups, including people with diverse gender identities and sexualities, people with disabilities, people with neurodivergence, and people from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds. What's most interesting is what these programs were aiming to achieve with their work. So we looked at their program goals along with any outcomes that they might have captured, and we found 6 key areas of focus where community music programs in Australia are working to create positive social change. These were wellbeing, social connection, visibility and opportunity, community cohesion, access, and sustainability. We're going to dive into those a little bit more now.
So the first is wellbeing. Across our sample, many programs aim to use music for the specific purpose of supporting health and wellbeing across a wide range of contexts. And these programs acknowledge that participating in music can have positive outcomes relating to physical and mental health, promoting agency and confidence, experiencing mastery and joy, and creating opportunities for personal growth, skill acquisition, and also career development. Programs included bringing the opportunity to participate in music to people from diverse backgrounds, such as people living with disability, families and their children, young people, carers, people in hospital, and also aspiring musicians. And supporting health and wellbeing among these groups is important for mitigating the consequences of social inequity. And the example we wanted to share with you, and do look them up, it's called Upbeat Arts, and they're funded and supported by Queensland Health. And Upbeat Arts deliver creative programs for building social connection with adults experiencing mental illness, disadvantage, or marginalisation. And for participants, programs help to enhance self-awareness, self-expression, communication skills, and members also report improvement in their mood, confidence, and self-esteem. The next example. Our sample also demonstrates the important role that music can play in building social connection, with programs working to create meaningful connections among people who are socially isolated. These programs include inclusive choirs, community jam sessions, bands and orchestras, and collaborative creative spaces leading to lasting friendships and supportive networks. Social connections such as that fostered by these programs, we think really plays a key role in wellbeing. And the example we wanted to share is the Folk Federation of Tasmania, who host these amazing folk dances, which contribute to and preserve folk traditions in Hobart in Tasmania. And this includes bush dances and Balkan dances, Regency dances, Scottish ceilidhs, which brings back good memories from a CMA many years ago, as well as contemporary and traditional Australian dances, to mention a few. These events are open to all with no dancing experience required, and they are supported by a live band of community musicians. And this provides opportunities for joy, happiness, and connection with the community, not only keeping the folk traditions alive, but really important opportunities for relationship building and dialogue amongst different community members. The next one that we wanted to share, of course, many programs in our sample included an element of increasing visibility and opportunity for diverse artists, aiming to support and elevate those musicians from diverse backgrounds and marginalised groups. And such programs included production companies specifically for community musicians with marginalised identities, mentoring and professional development for musicians from diverse backgrounds, and promotion and advocacy for recognition of musicians with identities that are often excluded from the music industry. These programs address the significant issue of inequity within the broader music industry, and can foster positive social change at societal levels by contributing towards shifting harmful social norms and the inequitable status quo. And to give you a break from our voices and to share some music, we'd now like to give an example from an amazing organisation called Wild at Heart, who support musicians living with a disability and have a particular focus on hip hop. And they are releasing some incredible music. You can check out the Inclusive Hip Hop Crew, and we're going to hear a little bit from them now.
Sometimes I feel a hole, like my holes in my heart. Really had a heart condition and I nearly fell apart. Glad I'm strong like my sister, on my back like a spine. If you find some Down syndrome, that's just probably mine.
You wanna ask questions, I don't lie. Always wanna worry, I just don't wanna fight. I think that I speak on my own feet. So say your whole words, you'll not defeat.
Everybody has the right to speak out and have a say. So listen to the message that I'm spinning out today. I want people to be safe. I want people to be accepted. I made a website so we can be protected. Get out of my face. Who do you think you are? You don't even know me. I'm a rock star. Get out.
Thank you, Brydie. Our next theme is social cohesion. And social cohesion was a really important goal and outcome for many of the programs in our sample. These programs focused on bringing communities together to foster understanding and tolerance among people from diverse and different backgrounds. These programs included neighbourhood festivals, street musicians, groups and clubs promoting music from a range of different countries and traditions, inclusive spaces for members of a community to create together, choirs promoting a positive sense of place, and musicians promoting and advocating for social justice issues within their community. This work is really important because social cohesion can contribute to an equitable society through empathy and tolerance and advocacy about the unequal distribution of rights, resources and opportunities. And we'd like to share just one example of this work from an organisation called Kickstart Arts. Kickstart Arts is a health promoting charity in Tasmania who use community arts and music in particular with cultural development as a means for the improvement of health and wellbeing. Kickstart Arts occupies a significant site, a 200-year-old orphanage building which used to house children taken from convicts and First Nations families. And it's also adjacent to one of Tasmania's sort of health department sites. So it's a really interesting space. Kickstart Arts works with the community to turn this story around, to create a place of vibrancy and celebration while acknowledging and honouring the past. Kickstart Arts is a hub of community collaboration and connectivity. The diverse spaces and groups work with different people and they bring different people together to foster new relationships and alliances and networks which support positive change in the community more broadly. Access to the benefits of music is an important aim for many of the programs in our sample as well. So these programs were actively increasing access to the benefits of engaging in live music for people and places that are commonly excluded. So these programs included touring musicians and productions to regional and remote areas, taking music performances into different spaces such as hospitals and community settings, and making venues safe, particularly for women and people with diverse gender identities and sexualities. So by extending the reach of music in its many forms, these programs are working to address inequitable access to music for key groups across Australia. To share just one example of this work, the Illawarra Folk Festival has become one of Australia's largest volunteer-driven gatherings. So beyond showcasing exceptional national and international folk acts, the festival program includes concerts, a one-day intensive music school, workshops, different sessions, dancing, a youth focused event, spoken word and poetry events. So more than entertainment, the festival actively contributes to community building by bringing together musicians, volunteers, community members and local social and support organisations. And finally, sustainability was a really important theme that came up in our national survey. So these programs work to foster cultural and environmental sustainability with the aim to protect, promote and value cultural diversity, doing important advocacy work for cultural inclusion and recognition. So such programs included touring music groups, productions foregrounding musicians and music from diverse cultural backgrounds, workshops and mentoring in cultural music practices, and community programs designed to preserve language and cultural practices through music. Cultural sustainability is integral for inclusive, equitable, well, and just societies. Other programs encourage the music industry to consider environmental sustainability and work to create community support and fundraising for causes related to climate change and environmental sustainability. So we wanted to share our final example with you from an amazing organisation called the Youth Mill. And I'll let their work mostly speak for itself, but the Youth Mill is a production company which is a vibrant cultural beacon, nurturing the talents of young Indigenous artists. They celebrate the fusion of traditional narratives and contemporary artistry, delivering powerful performances that resonate locally, nationally, and internationally. The Youth Mill's philosophy is about increasing and sharing cultural knowledge while growing the awareness of cultural maintenance, particularly among younger generations. And here's a short clip of their video, of their work.
Us all to be, embrace equality, pride and honesty, the truth and inclusivity. The stars, they gaze into the night. I see my people, they stand and they rise up with me. I know, my land is calling. I go out. Rise with the people that are one with me. Follow the land.
Thanks so much, Em. Now, as you can imagine, we're very excited by this national picture that we're starting to see emerge when you bring together so many diverse community music practices, all aiming to have positive social change. It's a picture that we haven't had up until now, and it's really starting to tell us some very powerful stories about what community music can do for equity and justice in our country. We're going to be putting all of these on our website, which we're currently building at the moment, and it will have all sorts of links so that you can listen to and immerse yourself in all of these different programs, and we're also writing that up for an article. But what we wanted to share with you as a closing thought is we're seeing some really interesting resonances between these Australian examples and what an international review that we did revealed. On screen right now, you can see a diagram that comes from an international review that Em and I did of community music programs across the world, seeking to address social change and achieve greater social equity and social justice. And we're seeing strong resonances between our outcomes and what is emerging from the international literature. And we've started to see also the ways in which these community music programs work right from the individual up to the collective and the social, but also the ways in which they are either mitigating the consequences of inequity, which is really important for people's well-being and quality of life, but also how some programs are actually looking to address the causes of what is behind those inequities and those injustices in the first place. So you're looking at that more macro social level of change. And we're seeing community music programs can light up all of those potential options. And we've certainly seen that in the examples that we've been sharing with you today. So we thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on what the Creative Change Project has been doing. You can look at our article, which is on screen, if you'd like to review this more. And we look forward to the opportunity of continuing the conversations. Do keep in touch with us, follow us on the socials. So we'll say bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.
Have
Bye.
fun. We miss you. Bye.